Piers, this was the weekend where the Giants fell. Barcelona struggled against Celta Vigo. What a game that ended up to be. Celta Vigo winning 4-3. Real Madrid drawing 1-1 with Eibar. Bayern Munich drawing 1-1 with FC Koln. Manchester City losing to Tottenham. Manchester United drawing with Stoke. So it seems like things aren't panning out for the expected dominant teams to go and run away with their retrospective leagues, or to at least discard of opponents they're expected to beat. Now, Manchester City, I think, doesn't deserve to be categorized into those groups, because you wouldn't expect them to go in and comfortably beat Tottenham, especially the game being played in London. But when you look at the past, Barcelona, you shouldn't expect them to go and beat Celta Vigo easily either, because this is 3 consecutive years that Celta Vigo have beaten Barcelona in their home turf. And despite statistics being in favour of Barcelona in the game, I think they had like 65% possession and the majority of the shots on goal. Without Lionel Messi, they look kind of lost in that game, and they may struggle and they lose an opportunity to go top of the league, because Real Madrid obviously fallen victim to an upset themselves.
Well, there's a couple other outlying points that need to be addressed, at least when it came to all these powers that be, for why they fell this weekend. For one, Real Madrid is battered. Yeah. They have dealt with numerous injuries on the season, and that's going to explain part of why that's their 3rd straight draw. So not all that surprising from Real Madrid's front, given the fact that at full health, I wouldn't expect those to be draws. The thing I'd be taking away from Barcelona, though, was some of the worst defending I've seen in Barcelona in the past 3 years. You mentioned too, Ter Stegen looked also lost. But some teams, and this goes across a lot of different leagues in world football, have other teams' numbers. For a while, it looked like Dortmund had Bayern's number, not historically, but when Klopp was there. And in this case, Celta Vigo, which you just mentioned, 3 straight years, it's not that these trends happen for no reason. Celta Vigo just simply knows how to play Barcelona, and if you don't have Lionel Messi in the starting 11 and your defense is falling apart, it's not that surprising. However, it does also show that 45 straight minutes of the best Celta Vigo football you could play was not enough, was almost not enough in the back half. Yeah. Because when Barcelona needs to score, they will find a way.
Absolutely.
On top of that, I was thinking like one way to make just La Liga even a little more interesting for fun, have Barcelona just be down 2 goals at the start of every single game, just to see.
Handicap betting?
We'll handicap it. We'll see what happens. Just
I mean, you're absolutely right. They had to come out 3-0 down at halftime, and they managed to grab a couple of goals before Ter Stegen basically just launched one in his own net. And that was where I think it just finally set apart. PK grabbed 2, the most unlikely goal scorers in that game. But the problem which I see with Barcelona, really quick to focus on them, is that hole that Lionel Messi usually fills. I think that Luis Enrique did the wrong thing and tried to have Neymar play that role. Neymar ran into traffic so much. Arda Turan never really picked up the ball in any real progressive area where he could do some damage. What I thought was going to happen is the reason why you have a Denis Suarez, or the reason why you have an alternative, was to change the style in which you play. Maybe go a little bit wider. Maybe have Neymar and Denis Suarez hold it wide a little bit, and have Iniesta or Arda Turan or any of your attacking midfielders maybe just start to take up more of an attacking midfielder role, because most of these attacking midfielders aren't even really attacking midfielders in Barcelona, because Messi controls that space where you expect the number 10 to be. He drops inside, and then Suarez and Neymar will partner together almost as a front 2. He tried to play very similar to the way that Messi plays. And once again, despite how good you think a Neymar is, or a Suarez is, or these players, which, by the way, last season they were fine without Messi. They picked up ground and they played very well. I'm not going to write them off straight away. I'm going to say that in this game, it didn't work. So I wouldn't be surprised if he started to go with a little bit more of an alternative look.
To play off your point, they're asking the wrong player to fill in the wrong position. Like, it doesn't fit Neymar's strengths. I'm not selling Neymar short by saying it's. If I'm correct, he's playing when he gets the ball on the left side of the pitch. And of course, when I look at this, it's always backwards because how we look.
It is. You're on the right. He's on the left.
Yes, he's on the left.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. But when you watch it on TV. People know what I'm saying.
It's called mirrors.
The learning curve of where people play in the game of football sometimes takes a few years. However, you should always see when I make the tactics, Francis always says, like, all right, it's perfect. Just flip everybody. Like, everybody on the right, put them on the left. All right, got it. When you're asking him to fill not just the role of Messi's key importance in facilitating, communicating, and carrying, like pretty much putting all the distribution on his own little back.
Yeah,
right?
very much
You're
so.
asking the wrong player to do it, and it's not like Suarez can do it either. What I didn't get was, why didn't they revert back to last season and use those tactics, that game plan, those strategies when Messi wasn't playing? Because it didn't look like they lost a step necessarily. However, this is what we call a trap game in a way.
Yeah.
If Celta Vigo had, like I said, we historically have beat them three of the last 4 years.
The 3 years at home, they've beaten them 3 consecutive years. They managed to beat them.
So it's a trap game.
Yeah,
that too. But again, what's more important is, it favored Barcelona in a certain way because Real Madrid's been drawing.
Yeah.
And if that continues to happen, like Real Madrid at some point needs to start taking advantage, even though they're battered. I think Luka Modric is still out, and that's proving to be a little bit vital because they look a little bit lost in the midfield. Not lost in the midfield, but not as full strength. So as long as Real Madrid keeps drawing matches, like Barcelona needs to find a way to at least pick up points because you don't want... It's so easy in La Liga to start falling off when one team gets hot.
Yes,
and
very much so.
There's very rare opportunities, especially if you're in Atletico Madrid right now. You want to start putting your pedal to the metal and getting at the top of the table.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's an opportunity now for Atletico to really start, not just maintain with the front pace, but they already proved midweek that they can beat the best of the best by beating Bayern Munich at home. So now you got to kind of put your foot down and make sure that you start to excel, because you're not going to get a lot of opportunities in La Liga where both of the big dogs are kind of stuttering a little bit. So you really need to take advantage of that. And then to go back to the overwhelming kind of outlook as the big name teams that were struggling, Bayern Munich as well. Like Ancelotti, I talked about this, it's almost like everyone expected Ancelotti to go in and come out the blocks in the Champions League, because the guy's a notorious Champions League winner. He does it so well. I expected it as well, because the guy has won Champions Leagues for AC Milan and for Real Madrid and as a player. So he knows what it takes, and he was often questioned about his domestic ability, and it's been questioned again, especially with the fact that Borussia Dortmund are looking good. I know they stuttered against Real Madrid. It's not exactly a stutter when you're playing against one of the best teams in the world, but he needs to look out as well. He needs to be looking in his rear window to make sure that these teams aren't going to try and, obviously, not just play catch-up, but just pull away. Because at the start of the season, people often think, it's early doors. But Manchester United already, I think, are falling a little bit behind the pack, not just in the way that they are losing points. They drew and obviously have lost the game after Manchester City. It seems like it's been somewhat of a turmoil at United. But these games, not just on points, but on confidence, on proving that you can keep consistency early on and get yourself up with the pack, if not ahead of them, especially when teams like Tottenham proving that they're going to be there or thereabouts next season. They're the only team left in the league that's unbeaten, beating the team that's leading the pack, Manchester City.
Second on the table.
Even Liverpool pulling out victories where they're struggling. Arsenal pulling out victories in the last gasp moment of the game.
Did you talk about that on yesterday's clip at all?
Yeah, I mentioned it. It was controversial.
It's a
handball. It's just the only thing is that his hands aren't up. His hands was kind of like here, but again, it's hard.
I get that
to
it
call.
has to be like definitive proof that like it was.
It was definitely there was proof that it hit his hand.
It could have been called offside.
The rules throughout the year for handballs have been so cloudy that it's whether or not his hand was outreached, whether it wasn't. The only thing that I say is if his hand wasn't there, I think it still hits his chest and goes in. I think that it's like his hand is at this point right here. If he was like this,
I thought you meant like if he just had no hands.
Yeah, if it's
right in the chest and it goes in. It was a botched. It looked like a botched play. In the
first
it
was.
Place.
It was just a accumulation of errors that ended up leading.
Yeah, but that was I thought that was actually one of the most exciting moments of the weekend. Was confusingly watching about that play back, or it's not a play, that set piece back like 17 times, going.
How did that get in?
Can we slow it down even more?
Yeah.
I can't figure this one out. It was interesting, though. I want to throw one more thing out there, because when all these big powers fall or draw in like a weekend of action, it just fuels the Illuminati rumors on like Reddit and like threads. They're like, basically all the powers of B got together and were like, week 7, let's all throw week 7. You know, I got a lot of money on all of us going down and not picking up points.
By the way, it would have been great odds if you had all of those teams drawing. If you had a Bayern, Barcelona, Real Madrid drawing at the weekend, I mean,
yeah, so you pick up some money.
Well, Barcelona, no, they would have lost. But if you had
if you had
all the giants,
if you had all 5 giants, Barcelona, Bayern,
drawing or losing,
Real Madrid not winning, not picking up 3 points, or a combined amount of points, like under 5 points picked up, you made a decent amount of cash.
And if anyone's watching and be like, I'm going to look at this bet and I'm going to put it on next weekend or the next weekend, don't do it. One, because
take
next
the
weekend,
over.
Yeah,
see if they bounce back.
They'll bounce back. They'll bounce back.
The over on points.
Let us know what you think of the giant following weekend. Is there anything to worry about? Barcelona, Real Madrid, Man City, Bayern Munich?
Illuminati are back.
Yeah. Hit us in the
Worry
comments.
about it.
Francis_Maxwell, Twitter, Jason Rubin 91, and we'll be back very soon for more football talk on TYT Sports.